first of all, my name's Clyde Dunphy. I've met most of you. I may not remember all your names, but I remember the faces, and I'd just like to welcome you to our first donor reception, and it's to celebrate 25 years of the Charitable Trust. And this is really about you. It takes a lot of people to make the trust run. It takes donors, it takes volunteers, and it wouldn't be possible without us all working together. You know, this started as a dream by 4 people, and after a committee and the NCA Board of Directors approving it, it became a trust in 1997 with basically $1,800. And we have grown it to what it is today, and I'll give you some numbers a little bit later. It's going to be a short presentation and highlight a few things. We missed a few people today, so if you know anybody that was a donor and we missed you, or if you see us on video, that was not our intent. It was our first attempt at this, and email lists, how we get them, how we collect them. People donate anonymously. And if you do that, that's great. We love to get the donation. We just don't know who you are, you know. And that's, I think, part of being anonymous. So anyway, we do appreciate y'all being here. And just briefly, the Charitable Trust is managed by the Charitable Trust Management Board, of which I'm the chairman. But the trustee, which is the NCA Board of Directors, oversees the work. They have designated and trust the management board to do the day-to-day activities of the trust. And there's a poster in the back that has 48 people since we started in 1997 that have either been a member of the trustee or they have been on the trust management board, and they've donated their time and resources to help us. And some have passed away, and but they were instrumental in helping us get started in the early days of the trust. But I would like to introduce the current president of the trustee, which is happens to be the NCA president, to say a few words, and that's Mr. John Cornell. John?
Thank you, Clyde. Most of what I would say would be to reiterate what Clyde has just said. It takes a lot of people to make this trust successful. And the people and their donations with time, money, efforts have made a difference, a tremendous difference in the Newfoundland breed over the years, in health and rescue, and safety of dogs. It's just been a very, very positive step forward. So we wish to thank everybody who has contributed in any way, and you certainly do help make the lives of us a lot easier to keep performing at the level we're performing. And we do have a good trust and a very well managed trust. We have good trust members, and it's very important. Clyde does a good job of keeping everything on track and reports back to the board often. Mary Price does an excellent job with our finances. We're just very, very fortunate to have the quality and the intelligence of the volunteers that we have. And we're also very, very lucky to have you folks that make contributions to the trust. So thank you very, very much.
There does seem to be one small problem with the trust management board that we have, and we've tried to figure out how, but it seems like once you get on that board and you get involved in it, you can't get off. I'm not exactly sure why that is, but a few of the people that are here, and if you could just stand for a minute so people know who you are. Mary L. Price, Mary Lou Cuddy, Mary Jane Stockman, Lori Littleford, Denise Hapakiyama, and John Cornell, of course, myself. We do have 2 other current trust board members that aren't here with us. Chris Plum, some of you may know Chris. He was from Minnesota, currently lives in New York, Wappinger Falls, I believe, and Roger Powell, who was in North Carolina and currently is still frozen in Minnesota, northern Minnesota. I think he told me there was still snow and ice up there a couple weeks ago. So I hope he's thawed out by now. Just a couple of highlights. We have the amount of money that we get from you as donors and from bequests from members. We have donors that haven't been in the club or haven't had a Newfoundland in, what, 20 years, Mary? Some people, some trusts that we've got money from, they left money to the Charitable Trust, and then they passed away, and we got 10%. In some cases, that was $100,000+.
Yeah.
So we currently have a balance of $650,000, depending on the market, because we do have most of the money invested prudently. And the food tonight, and the room, and the welcome reception Tuesday evening, you can thank the stock market and our investments for that. No donor money is used for that, the food, those types of things. And our investments pay for that, and was the goal when we set up the endowment fund, was to be able to have this be in perpetuity, where it just goes on forever, so that it doesn't, if something happens, we don't get money in. So if you think of us in your estate planning, that would be great, because the work that we've done, we've spent probably over $600,000 in rescue, and probably more. We don't have a total for the 25 years. The money comes in, it goes out, dogs keep coming in. We help individual dogs, we help regional clubs through grants, and so that's an ongoing thing with National Rescue. Mariel Price is in charge of that, and we have some other really good volunteers, and we'll highlight a couple in just a minute. But the summary for the health challenge is probably $750,000 plus has been invested in health research. And you might wonder, well, why do we still have health problems? It takes, research is a slow process. When we do research, it always doesn't give you just a direct answer. So from that, we're doing research on SAS at this time in a couple of places. We've got a request for proposals out at the Morris Animal Foundation. We're doing research at Michigan State University. Barbara Janess, Barbara's here someplace, right? There, Barbara back here. Thank you. Barbara and her group raised over $50,000 for Newfoundland four-limb anomaly research, which is, Barbara, your group. The CTMB funded a small study of $15,000, but Dr. Velma for Newfoundland four-limb anomaly research, that was part of a full proposal she wanted to do over 2 years, and with a simple online Facebook fundraising effort, we were able to raise the entire, not just the ACORN grant, but the entire amount of money to fund that. So that was amazing. So I'm going to ask Wendy Reed is a newer member to our Newfoundland Club and the Rescue Network, and she has been a wonderful volunteer. There are many wonderful volunteers, but she's here with a lady, and I'm going to have Joy Warren come up with Captain, and Captain is featured in our annual report. And we have many stories like this. We're not able to tell them all, but we tell the ones that we can. And, hi, buddy. And thank you for coming and being here this evening.
Thank you.
And Wendy, would you just like to say a few words about your involvement in rescue?
So Clyde put me on the spot. So I came in this a year ago. Worked with SCNR for 2 years, and then they want to go back to their regular territory. I actually contacted Mary Price. I'm like, what's going to happen to Ohio and Michigan? Like, I couldn't just walk away. I call Mary Price the godmother, not her minion. It's been an him was the fourth dog we pulled. Today I picked him up. I called Sugar Creek Vet, and I'm like, I need a medical boarding. It was 80 miles away from him. It's COVID. No vets having new people come in, and they're like, bring him in straight in. I walked in, and I'm like, I think you need to get a gurney. I don't think he can walk in. So they went back. I went back to the car. I opened the door, and he jumped out. I'm like, okay, let's try to walk in. We're just going forward with this. We met at their sliding door, and they just dropped. They're like, go back. Go straight through the doors. We go back, and everybody just went, it was busy, vet clinics. We all know they're talking busy. They just went silent when they saw him. And there's 3 vets on his case. As soon as he came in, they started running that IV in him. He was dehydrated. And he was just pulled from a vet clinic literally a couple hours beforehand. We went there. I didn't know they made a gallon IV solution at that time. You learn things. And they hooked him up. Then they started doing a GI too. And there's 3 vets that was working on him. You know, they got this big needle out, and I'm like, what's going on? They're like, we're pumping him in vitamin B12. That clinic we still use to this day. And the main doctor that was on his case, I would text him every morning, 7:30. How's everything going? And he's like, everything's going good. I go, do we need to make the hard decision? Is he still going? He's like, he's still improving. Little did I know, 6 months earlier, the vet was talking about doing suicide. And I tell him to this day, if it wasn't for you, he wouldn't be here. 21 days he spent there. 21 days I kept on texting them. And their staff, still to this day when we walk in, how's captain? How's the captain? But like when they figured, when I told them he was getting adopted, they go, is this person good? What do you know about this person? I'm like, we've done all this, and they're like, are they going to keep in touch? I actually called Joy up. I'm like, listen, he's special to everybody. And we went with it, you know. After him, there's more that come in. Every dog has a story. Every dog has a journey. And it's people like you that keeps us going. We can keep on going to the mills. We can keep on helping the owner surrenders. We can tell these stories. Like I tell everybody, you know, it doesn't matter. My first dog was from backyard breeders. What you do afterwards, educate, learn, tell their stories, so somebody don't have to make the same mistakes. I thank all of you for being here. Of course, on Terry I thank Joy for being here. You know, Tim has been my right hand guy. Teresa has done our paperwork. Marty's not here. She's in Canada, but the first year, oh my God, it was scary. And then Mary Grace, I'm surprised she answers the phone sometimes. Like she answered one day on ring 1. I'm like, you do it 3 or 4 times so I can get my story real good so I can tell you what's going on. But again, thank you for coming here. We appreciate it. I can't wait to see what the next year brings and the year after.
Thank you, Wendy and Joy. Thank you. Thanks for coming in. You're 10 minutes away from here?
Yeah.
Well, that's great.
Yeah. It's handy.
Thanks for bringing him, and thanks for the other dogs. And
Yep.
I'll tell you,
He's
if
checking
that
out.
story that you read in the annual
honey.
report doesn't bring a little tear to your eye, it's kind of callous, because I thought it was very, very well written in the annual report. And we were told we couldn't have dogs up here, but that didn't get through to the staff because they brought out dog bowls on trays. So, I think they were pretty accommodating. That's a little story that I thought kind of gets to the heart of what we do for rescue and what it's about. One of the others in the donations part of it is I got a call from Mary Jane in, I don't remember, December sometime, And she said, I have a donor that's got stuff. You know, that's Mary L's word. She says, we got stuff. What are we going to do with stuff? You know, and I said, well, we try to sell it, but, you know, we only have a couple days at the National. When you have 2 years, you don't have a National. There's a lot of stuff you can't do anything with. So she said, she's in Indianapolis, and I said, well, that's not far from me. I'm going to go to Indianapolis. I've got a car buddy over there. I'm into cars, and I said, I can pick it up. So anyway, I called Linda. And she said, yeah, I've got this stuff. They're in totes. I've got pictures. I got all kinds of things. So anyway, I went over in early this winter, and Linda Spalding, where are you sitting, Linda? I'm sorry. Linda Spalding here, and her son Randy is here. And I got 7 or 9 totes, I think 9 totes, and a big container of pictures, you know. And so I took them home, and we went through them, and my wife inventoried them, and they came to the auctions on Wednesday and Thursday, and I'm anticipating, I don't have an exact number, but I think we raised over $2,000 from that donation. And that was in memory of Linda's husband and Randy's dad, David. He was involved in Newfoundlands for a number of years. I'm not sure how long. How long? How long? 30 years. Had a Best in showed Newfoundland and showed, you know, I know some, you know, Denise knew him. I did not, probably showed at the same time, but I didn't know him, you know. And he had a love for cars like me, so we would have probably made a good connection, but it was never made. So thank you for that donation, and the others. I also want to introduce Lori Littleford for just a minute. She's the vice chairman of the Charitable Trust Research Advisory Committee Chairman, which basically looks over proposals, and I'll let her explain that. But Lori's from the San Jose, California area. And Lori, would you like to say a few words?
Sure. I do serve as the vice chairman of the Trust Management Board, which means I'm supposed to take over when Clyde doesn't do it. So he's going to live forever. He's going to live forever and do it forever. So, there's no way I can fill those cowboy boots. No way.
Mid-sentence.
As far as RAC's duties, we look at research proposals that have been submitted to the Canine Health Foundation, as well as the Morris Animal Foundation, as well as projects like Barbara Janessa's group that came to us directly. And we did end up working through Morris Animal Foundation because that was really the best way of doing it. That was the best way of doing it. But we try to take the monies that are donated, and I'm also sort of in charge of making sure that when somebody offers a 2-for-1 or a 3-for-1 or a double your money, that we make that deadline in terms of the timing of our donations, so that we really try to put the money to work as readily and as effectively as we possibly can. So we do look at those research proposals. The job has changed a little bit over the years because it used to be these organizations didn't have a lot of technical expertise. We've had several committee members that have been on the committee since it began. Sherry Brown just recently has resigned from the committee, but she said 25 years is enough. So you can actually, there's some turnover there, but we do have an opening on the committee. So if you have a research background, if you have a veterinary background, medical background, we do sort of the pre-screen for the trust board, because sometimes there's 3 or 4 proposals and sometimes there's 30 proposals. We don't get so much into the scientific design anymore because there's a limited amount of information that we get from both CHF and Morris Animal Foundation. Morris is better. They share more information with us. And we also look at the donor-inspired Donor-inspired, is that the right terminology? Donor-inspired studies. Those are cases where we work with Morris Animal Foundation to say, what do we want to work on? And we've done one with SAS and with,
Newfoundland four-limb anomaly.
And the four-limb anomaly, okay? So that way we can say, hey, researchers, this is what we're interested in, and we can help you fund it too. So hopefully we can get some good researchers interested in this project. So if you do have a background and you're interested, it's about two or three mail meetings a year, or a Zoom meeting, or a telephone call. There's not a huge amount of work involved, but I think it's one of those things that's very highly leveraged, because it's very important that we get things that are appropriate for Newfoundlanders and that'll really help benefit everybody.
Thank you, Lloyd. Just a couple of things in closing. We have some posters here. This is Morris Animal Foundation, $380,000 invested. Some of the studies, areas, osteosarcoma, eye diseases. I won't read them all here. This one back here is the AKC Canine Health Foundation. We were a founding partner with them when we started our trust before they started their trust. So we were in existence, I believe, 2 years before they were, but we've been funding them since 1999. So that's good. The poster over here of Captain was put together by Mary Lou and Mary Lou Zimmerman, her husband Dan. Wave to us back here if they don't know you. They are instrumental in doing our technical resources. Mary Lou does the NUF Research and Rescue, NUF Care Research and Rescue. That's our e-magazine. And Joey, I want you and Captain to have that poster and take that home with you tonight when you leave, okay? Please. And then the last poster was, again, the members, people that have helped us throughout. So I don't know how long I'm going to be the chairman of this trust. I've been the only, the only chairman. You don't want to outlive your usefulness, but which
He was just re-elected for 2 more years. Who's going to do it for that?
So I hope somebody will tell me when I'm not doing a good job, and maybe I won't get elected for 2 more years, but I still enjoy doing it. I enjoy the people. I enjoy helping the dogs. I'm retired from the veterinary community, but I do some state veterinary work and help with lobbying and help with research, and it gives me a connection to Morris Animal Foundation and Canine Health Foundation. So we'll keep going thanks to you people. We can be around here and just visit for a little while longer, but unless anybody has any questions or comments or missed anybody wanted to say anything, if you do, raise your hand.
I just wanted to recognize Mark Sorry. He's the guy that drives the stuff around. Okay.
Who's that, Mark?
Right, so this-
I'm his wife, and I'll tell you guys, you can do a big favor, is buy the stuff that he puts out. We have a 2-story doghouse, and his office is like, it's really cool, because when you walk in, it's shelves full of stuff. Because Mark went across and picked up everything in all the storage units, so that we could get it in one place. And it's in our house, so you guys can have anything you want, just talk to him.
Thank you, Pam.
Yeah.
And I might have missed 2 people that were involved in the past 3 days. One is Sue Miller. Sue does rescue with Mary. And, she does the online dry goods and the silent auction today. And then Mary Jane Spackman organized the silent auction for Wednesday and Thursday for benefit the Newfoundland Health Challenge. So thank you, Mary Jane. And with that, I thank you all for coming tonight. I'm sorry.
You spent 2 days during the health challenge.
Thank you.
If you want to repeat that, I'm sorry, I couldn't hear that. Okay. You're welcome. So with that, have a good evening. There's more food here. Stay around, visit for a while. The doors don't open up till 8 o'clock, so we've got some time here. So thank you again for coming, and we'll see you at some point in the future. And thank you for your donations.